There we go. How would you deal with healing relationships with narcissistic mother? So, narcissism, I've heard this term before. Can you let me know, Mark, what is narcissistic?
Yeah, I will. And then I'm really glad this came up, you guys, because it's become narcissism is simply, it is a mental way of being. Some would call it a mental disorder where they're unable to see you as a separate individual. They're unable, like you're just in their world. And when you're not in their world, you're wrong. If you're good and you're acting the way I expect you to be acting, then we're fine. If you do something outside my script, I will punish you. I will do whatever. I will ignore you. They become very aggressive because they don't have the ability to see you as a separate individual. It's
So,
actually,
so they're very judgmental, I would imagine, narcissistic, judgmental, and
yeah, because they're very fragile. They're
mm,
very fragile because if you don't follow their script, something's wrong. And they're so locked in it. But this is what's also important, Maria, and this has been really coming to me. This use of the word narcissism has become quite trendy. And the challenge is when we label someone as that, aren't we just sort of pushing them away? Now we have a diagnosis. Now we have a box that we can put
well,
them
what I'm
in.
hearing is like then we make it very real. Like
Right.
very real, and this person's narcissistic, and this person again is the problem, right?
Right. Right.
Word is strong. When I heard narcissistic, which amazing, Chris, we like you using that because it brings us to this, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, it's a strong word, but it's also labeling it, and it's also not really holding that person in high regard. It's like making it real that they're like that, right?
I mean, it can be used for our freedom. So I don't want to, Chris, I don't want to make it wrong, but it really is a gift, like Maria said, because it can be a way of trapping ourselves. Oh, well, here's my story. I had a narcissistic mom, therefore I'm this way, right? And we only want to use any words to point to our freedom. So I did have an experience of a narcissistic mom, a mentally unwell mother who was unable to see her children as separate. So I do understand on some level. So deep compassion. This is not something that is just a trendy label. If they really have this particular way of thinking and seeing, then you should easily move to, not should, then the opportunity to move to compassion because that's the best they could do. That's literally like someone who is incapable. Like I have a brother on the spectrum. I completely accept that. That label works because it's who he is and it's the best he can do. And I love him. And I know how he can and cannot show up. So use this label for good. If that's true about your mother, then that's the best she could do. But here's what's even more important. You created her for your journey and your experience. There's not, again, life is for me. I like to imagine, Maria, that before we even incarnate, I don't know, it just works for me. Like I sit around a conference table with my guides and God, and everyone's in the room. Like, what kind of design are we going to create? Oh, Maria's going to create a story, a dream where her father kills himself at 3 months old. And from that, there's going to be this, and there's going to be that. And it's got this movie epic energy to it. You could sort of do that. Oh, I designed my life with this mother that was unavailable in particular ways, as Maria said, for my good, for my evolution. Oh, as I love and forgive and accept her for who she is and who she isn't, I become free. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It goes back to what I've learned too, and I mentioned it earlier. Is like if I and we want somebody to be different than what they are,
Right.
we lose. So so it's not acceptance. It's like I wish my mom would be different.
Right.
I want her to be different. I want her to act different, and then I will be happy. Or the way she's acting is not right, and it is what it is. So when we fight reality, again, we suffer. So it's not that also you accept, like we were talking about earlier, neglectful behavior or somebody, not treating you well, or whatever it is, disrespect. It's not that you allow that person to treat you bad, or in this case, your mother treat you bad, or whatever it might be. It's going back to that forgiveness and non-judgment, and from there you make certain decisions. You get your head clear
Yeah.
about what's really real here. And then you can not talk to her or continue talking to her. That's not up to us, right? But it's you get to get your head in check and say, okay, I am in non-judgment. I'm accepting my mom for who she is. I don't want her to be different than any way than what she is. And then what are you feeling? Want to continue the relationship? Is it aligned? Is it not aligned? Maybe words need to be exchanged. Maybe a letter needs to happen. Maybe so many things, but you will be released when you recognize, and this is big, and this is a big webinar in the sense of big
Yeah.
is to recognize that ultimately she is not the problem, you know? And to realize ultimately that how do you deal with healing the relationship with your mother is you deal with it by having acceptance, by being aware, by having presence, by practicing non-judgment, by not being a victim of it. And then that's where you have your power. And also holding her in high regard because, you know, when we are cuckoo and when we've lost our mind, we do stupid things and we say stupid.
Yes.
And you know what? You've been there and I've been there, you've done that. We've all done that. We've all had certain extreme of not being loving, but then we go and judge others for doing it. And we got to remember we've been there and done that.
And what I need when I'm cuckoo is I need you, Maria, to just love me. Give me a little smack if I need it. You know, come on, Mark, wake up. But
Yeah. Yep.
not make me wrong for it. You know, just love me into place. Yeah. You know, I want to also add because this is such a good conversation. Um, I this is really important for me. I need I always ask the Holy Spirit to guide my leaving. I ask the Holy Spirit to guide my words. I don't ever want to leave or say something and then have that repercussion of, well, I thought it would, you know, I really talk about epic relationship with the Holy Spirit. Like if your relationship with your mother needs distance and time away, I want that to be Holy Spirit guided. I want that to be so clear from the spirit of your being, because that's when love is doing its work. That's when your distance away is actually somehow, unbeknownst to you, a gift to her. You
Yep.
know, everyone wins when we let the Holy Spirit guide the action.
Yeah. And also, I always say not playing God and allowing God to do its job and not thinking we know everything.
Right.
Because how do we not know that your mom being narcissistic, Chris, again, this is super deep and whatever, isn't the best thing ever?
Yeah.
How do we not know that her being the way she is and all the stuff that's coming up because of the way she is isn't the best thing ever? We don't know where it's leading you.
Yeah.
We have these judgments on our awakenings and it needs to look pretty or it needs to look like this. That's also a judgment. How about if it's not the best thing ever, what's happening? I think when we let go of the judgment, again, I can't say it enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a wonderful thing happen with my mom, that back to my mom's story, that really has helped me see everybody else in a very loving way. She had dementia for the last 5 years of her life, and she became very different, and she would blurt and she would say things like, when you're dealing with someone with dementia, you go in with no expectations. You know, maybe they'll know you, maybe they won't, maybe they'll be happy, maybe they'll be rageful, but it isn't personal. And that was such a gift. It was like this diagnosis of dementia gave me permission to not personalize what she was doing, because it was just what was there. And I thought, gosh, I could do that with everybody. I don't need a diagnosis to love people and not personalize, like you didn't personalize your father's leaving. It's beautiful.
Charlene Winters, great question, says here, how do you heal your nervous system with being around a narcissist parent? Again, the narcissist word is coming up.
Yeah.
My heart knows and has compassion and non-judgment, but my body responds very differently.
Yeah. It does make sense. It does make sense because, as we said, the conditioning of it starts before, you know, you're consciously choosing. As my story, you know, it was very, very early, and your nervous system does get wired that way. But that's where, thank you, Holy Spirit, there's wonderful healing modalities. There's Reiki, there's breath work. There's lots of ways to restore the balance of the body today. And there's more and more modalities. So pray for that piece of your healing. We give the body to the Holy Spirit to use. And if the Holy Spirit brings to you a healing opportunity, a breathwork experience, just be open to have that occur. And then it is about, like Maria was pointing to, maybe your time spent with your mother is less. Maybe you have parentheses of time, a beginning, middle, and end. And self-care and self-love is important. And yeah, I don't think we need to apologize for that if that's what we need.
I had said earlier, Mark, and I think I mentioned to this when I was doing my talk and I was talking about my husband and how uncomfortable it is to feel. How uncomfortable it is to feel that neglect or abandonment or judgment or whatever it might be. It's so uncomfortable. I think I mentioned that. It's so uncomfortable. And this is exactly what's going on here. The response of the body is so different because it's overwhelming. And it's so, yeah, the heart knows and has compassion and non-judgment, although not 100%, because if it was, the body will not continue to feel that way because your body doesn't run the show. Your body is the effect of your thoughts. So if you start to look at that more, Charlene, and start to feel comfortable in that uncomfortableness, I would say.
Mm, mm.
Comfortable, so uncomfortable. I know, I'm there. I hear you, and it's easier said than done, girl. I can say it from my outside, but oh my gosh, when I feel that I'm feeling abandoned, like if I feel that somebody's like, I don't know what could, oh my God, I feel this pain in my heart. I don't even know what to do with it. So what I do is I feel it. I feel it to heal it. Feel it. Oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. And trust. It's just like a wave. And then you begin to see what is really real there. But I feel that if she's still feeling the body responses, it means that the non-judgment completely is not there. There's something that's still being judgmental there.
I love that. I love that because, our spiritual path should and must include our ability to be with our, just like you're describing, like that really is a gift. And, I too have been there where I'm like, I finally spoke my truth or something, or someone leaves the room and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to die. Like, I feel like it's so dramatic.
It's real. It doesn't matter. Course in Miracles is out the window. This is very, very real. And this is really happening. And that's fine. That's when the Son of God forgets to laugh. So we just need to remember again. Charlene says, wow, thank you. Thank you for the question. Because again, we all learned from that. Let me see here. So anyone else, any questions? And Mark and I can start wrapping it up. But Mark, and guys, continue to do your questions. I just want to say, I'm so grateful for this. I feel going into this, Mark and I really didn't know we were just going to show up, and the dance that has been going on between us and you guys is just such a blessing. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you feel like a girlfriend to me. I'm so grateful.
I know. I love doing stuff with you. Katie says the book, The Journey Home by Lee Carroll Cryon, is a parable that goes into exactly what Mark is saying about writing our life script stories and relationships for our highest good. It was powerful and helpful read for me.
Beautiful.
So,
beautiful. Yeah. I got an insight. This was, as we read the course more and more, I don't know about you, but I just love when a new thing pops out. I'm like, oh, a deeper understanding. And I don't remember where it was, but in one of the chapters, it literally said, it was talking about not being victims. And I took that I was like, oh my gosh, our whole psychology training and really not all, but a majority of it is like, what happened to you as a child? How were you victimized? How were you, who do we find to blame here to make sense of why you're sitting in this chair today? And I'm like, nope, that's victim. Nope, that's victim. And then I got myself back to what if we just really are designing it all? Oh, we are.
It's true. And it's so powerful. That's why I'm saying the teachings of the course is powerful. But for me, I feel, especially in healing my relationships, I've had to become very uncompromising. Because I feel that for so long, I studied the course and I would read this chapter that I love. It's on relationships, where it talks about, the frame, like this frame.
Yep. The frame and the picture.
Yeah, the picture and the frame. Oh my God, I used to read that over and over and over again, but I wouldn't get it. I would still go on dates and think that person's going to make me happy. I will go to my course group and I am loved, but not really, because I still have unconsciously believed that the person outside of me completes me. So it was like very nice. That's why when I teach the course, I'm so adamant and so strong about live it, work it, understand your blind spots of why you're not really going there completely, because you can say you want to heal, but another thing is really doing it. It's really doing the work to heal. And that was a big blind spot for me. That's why I'm always saying, be uncompromising, Don't make any exceptions. Go there and forgive. I even say sometimes, even if you don't want to, forgive.
Absolutely. Well, that's where the little willingness helps. I like your big willingness, but we can use the little willingness when we're talking about like forgive even if you don't want to. That's a little bit of willingness is all the Holy Spirit needs.
Yes, it's true. It's true. I don't know why I started that big willingness thing and I've gone home with it because I think it's so much fun to say.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Not willingness because we're so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. My Course Miracles program is called Living the Course because we have the same passion as you, that we're not here to just read it or be intellectual or smart about it. We're here to really live it, and we call it the Little Willie. We need some Little Willie in the game here.
Oh, I love that, little Willie. I love that. All right. So we have a question from Alicia or Alice. I love being single, but have very, very strong resistance against being in a romantic relationship because there always comes so much stuff up that I always feel like I can't handle it. It always is just too overwhelming. But the more I run away from those relationships, the more they hunt me. How can I lose the resistance against romantic relationships and the fear of getting hurt so much again? What a great question. Mark, you're on. Action, and then I'll go.
Well, I want to point out at the beginning, I love being single. So I'm like, God, don't have relationships. I sort of like, if you really love being single, then you don't kind of have a problem here. But then I don't know if you're being pursued or there must be something, right? Calling you, if this question comes up, something is in you about being in romantic relationship, even if it's just for the play of it, even if it's just for the fun of sex and romance and sharing. Like that might be what's pulling you towards it. But
it says here, how can I lose the resistance against romantic relationships and the fear of getting hurt so much again? Right?
But if you love being single, then just be single. I don't know.
I think she said that because she's being accepting. She's like, okay, I'm single.
Oh, okay.
I'm single, but I really would like to be in a relationship.
Okay, I get a little confused.
How can I lose my resistance to wanting to be in a relationship because she's single, but I feel that she would like to be in a relationship.
Yeah. So here's how to do it, and it's not our culture at all. It's not our culture at all, but I know this to be true. Go so slowly, and go slower than even that. Like there's nothing to rush. Definitely withhold. That's just my advice. Like if you're asking, like don't have sex too early. Like really, really enjoy the holding of hands. Enjoy the kissing. Enjoy the things that lead us to intimacy, and let that be at a pace that keeps you comfortable. You can be in charge of the rhythm of what works for you, and you can attract someone that honors that rhythm. And I have found that, the slower participation gives you the ability to go, whoo, really feeling some waves. But when we go too quickly, when we get the physical intimacy and all those things merge, it does feel like sometimes you're just, you're in the storm of the seas and you can't see which way is up. So that I think is a pretty practical, straightforward way. Slow it down and even tell someone, look, man, I go really slow in this game here. So you got to really enjoy getting to know you. I have found, and this is what saved my marriage when we were in a tough spot. I was like, if we can't be friends first, then we just don't have anything. Like friendship just became vitally important. And I think that's true for all relationships. Because for me, friendship is where I get to be honest and relaxed and vulnerable and not do it right. There's lots of gifts in friendship for me. So yeah, that would be my thought. Watch the rhythm of it and find the rhythm that works for you.
Yeah, I was when you were saying that, that is so helpful. And also it says here, how can I loosen the resistance against romantic relationships and the fear of getting hurt so much? I can relate to that because when I was single, when I appeared to be single, by the way, remember that, Alice, you're not single, you're appearing to be single. Is when I was scared to be in a relationship because I was scared to be hurt, I felt I just had always this willingness, and I trusted spirit, I trusted God. When I met my husband Christian, it was so upside down in the sense that I met him and we got married very quickly. I met him in February and we got engaged in May. and we got engaged in April, and we got married in May, and we got pregnant in July. So that tells you everything. Now, this was fast, Mark, not and I didn't go slow as you can see,
Right, right.
but I'll tell you what I felt. I felt at the beginning, I was scared. This doesn't make any sense. My fears were coming up. I'm not going to go there. He was even telling me that it was just not going to be a relationship forever. It was going to be, we would go together on book tour. He would help me, but that we would be on our way. Plus, we do have a 15-year age difference as well. He's 15 years younger than me. So I saw it like it was just going to be a fling and it was just going to be that. But you know what? It felt so good that I was willing to do that. I said, you know what? This feels so good. This can go to shit. This can go to shit. And I'm a course teacher and I'm out there and there's no man in sight. And now I'm declaring this guy as my husband and we're going to get married. This could all go to shit, even in public. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my big girl panties on. And this is what I tell the girls that I counsel. I tell them, put your big girl panties on and be willing to get hurt. If you get hurt, it's okay. But you're going into it with that confidence. You're going into it saying, you know what? This feels good to me. I don't want to end this. I want to go for this completely. If you feel it's right. Now, if you don't feel it's right, no. But for me, I took that big willingness, that big leap of faith, Mark. I got to know him. Again, it could have gone to shit, but it felt right to me. And now we're, married 7 years and we have a son that's 5 years old. And our relationship is a beautiful relationship. We continue to grow and heal. But I have to say, sometimes you just have to go for it. Even though you're scared, I don't know. Does that make sense? But that's what came through.
I love this because we've got two options for you, my friend, and they're perfect. I loved that. I just love the contrast of, because you're right. We can plan and strategize and go through, and then someone comes in and it's just like, whoo.
And then it also just feels right. And you're like, this makes no sense, but I'm just going to ride with this, Yep. There be so many judgments. Oh, this person has too many kids or they're not right for me or they're too old or they're too short. It's all these judgments. But when we start to just let go of those judgments, you never know the opportunity you can have in the relationship you can have when you let go of those judgments. So I hope that you found that helpful, Alice. So basically, Mark says don't have sex. I say have sex. So that's the end of it.
And wherever you land on that, let us know how it goes. Well, believe me, I'm a big fan for having sex for fun, whatever you want to do.
I know. I'm totally kidding, but that was funny.